Welcome to another video. We're going to talk about basically the vendor section, the meat and potatoes of this website. The vendor section, how do we set it up on the front end? The front end meaning this, the live site, where vendors, our potential vendors come, they sign up for your service, they pay you, and that kind of a thing. Now, I did another video that covered the vendor's area and actually setting up categories and manually entering a vendor in the back end. That's not what I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over another section that actually operates the system. The video is going to be a little bit long. I have a lot to go over in a lot of different areas, which I'll do my best to be as detailed and as thorough as possible. But just go into it knowing that you're probably going to have to watch this video another time or two to kind of get a grasp of it and make sure you have a good understanding of how this whole thing works. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and go to the back end. And what we want to do is come to the theme options panel. And then we want to find vendors. And then here we are in the first section. Now, this payment system, we have a couple different things we can do. We can do recurring or not, meaning that with PayPal, you can automatically bill your vendor every month, every 3 months, whatever the case may be, automatically. You're not relying on them to go in and make a payment manually. However, if you turn this thing as to no or to off, that means you're relying on the client or the vendor every so often to renew their account. That way it's valid. Either option is obviously available to you, and what you want to do is at your discretion. Next thing is the title, and let me actually show you this real quick. This is where I'm at right now. This is the area that I'm demonstrating right in here. So if I'm logged in and I go to my payment section, this is what I see. I got two options as a vendor to what I want to sign up for. So let's make some changes so you can kind of see this and see this work. So this is this box right here, this description. Whoops, wrong button. That's what shows up in this area. All right, your title, monthly recurring. You can see that that's this right here, and that would be the same one for this one. And then obviously we have the price, and then what's really important is the payment period. If it's recurring, how often is PayPal going to automatically bill them? If it's not recurring, how often are they responsible for updating and making the payment themselves? So you would just change this to what you want. We have 5 options: 1, 3, 6 month, and 1 year and 2 years. So let's say just change it to 3 months. I'll put this to whenever, every 3 months. All right, give them my price, and then save it. Now let's refresh the front end and see if the changes took place. And there we are. We have our new title and our new amount. So now every time someone makes a payment for this particular option, that's what they get charged. And obviously the same thing for this box. So it's pretty straightforward. I don't think you have too much of a problem with that. Next is the PayPal account, and this is really where we want to pay attention. First, you need to put in the PayPal email address of the PayPal account email that you're using. So if you have a PayPal account, whatever email is attached to that. Next is your PayPal token ID. I can't really go over how to give that in a tutorial as far as obtaining that ID, because I don't want to have to log into my personal account and have the world seeing my my PayPal area. However, if you type in, let's see, how to get PayPal token ID, there's a good little article right here. This will tell you how to actually go in there and get it. But anyways, a general search, and you'll be able to find a lot of information of how to get that ID. So you paste that ID in here, so make sure it's the matching email address and your PayPal token ID. Next, and this is an area that can cause confusion, has caused confusion. If you do not list every field, or excuse me, if you not fill out every field, the system is not going to work properly. Let me repeat that. If you do not have a page for every section, a unique page, and I'm going to go over these, your system and your vendor setup will not work properly. Okay. Side note is the email address, and you can see basically this is the email address that appears in emails. When someone signs up, they get an automatic email. For example, you see no replies a lot of places. You fill out emails and you get a no reply email. Thank you for signing up such and such from noreply@mail.com. So I would suggest doing that. If you want to use your own personal email, that's clearly up to you. Okay, so first we got a bunch of numbers in here, account page ID, login page ID, all these things, and it's really confusing at first when you look at this. And another video actually showed you how to get these ID numbers, and if you remember, I mentioned that if you roll over something in your browser, you get this box that pops up down here at the bottom left. Remember that? See that at the bottom left right now? The URL? Alright. So what we want to do is get the IDs for these pages that you at least when you go to the system you should have created already. I know right now you probably haven't done it, but you would have to have created these pages before you get to this part. That way you can enter in the IDs. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's start at the top, account page ID. Let's go to pages. Alright, the top, see account. And I would highly recommend you use the exact same names that's in the theme options panel as you do when making your page. So in the theme options panel, this account page is called account, right? Where are we? Account page ID, account page, login page, account overview. This thing's called account. Don't go in there and make up some other name like my account or vendor account or vendor area or sign in whatever, and then you're trying to come back in here and match things up, and it makes it more difficult on you. So use the same names. Let's just start with the first two. I'll go over those. Account page ID. That's what we need to find. So let's just assume you're making a new one from scratch. You're making this. Give it your name. Like I said just account. Call it account. Alright? And then if you come over to this box under page attributes, we'll see parent, and right below that we see template. See this? This is a drop down of all your default templates. You have to use these to create the page. So you're making your account page, correct? We want to choose account page for the template. If you choose default template, or forget to set it, or choose vendor category, even though it's an account, it's not going to work. So you make your account page, set this to account page template, alright? And that is it. That's all you have to do. That is it. But you have to create all these pages. Alright, in fact, let me actually match this up with another tab so we can kind of bounce back and forth without having to re-close or reopen other pages. So vendor pages. So right now I'm an account page, right? Here we are right here. Okay. Now we can also see, I showed you that trick when you hover over an area and you get this little pop-up box on the bottom. Another thing too is to look in the address window right here and you get the same thing. So we'll see this number, 60. You see that? So if I come to the account section, whoops, wrong page, sorry, 60, that's my ID number. Alright, so let's check out the login page. Let's see, login, where are you? I know I'm probably looking. Member login. See, I just gave this big old speech and I didn't even follow my my own advice. Members login. Should just change this to just login. Silly me. Alright, so we'll look up here and we'll see 58. And if we look at this, we'll see 58. Alright, and just to show you, so you're wondering what I was talking about before, where I said this thing pops up down here. Without even going into it, if you roll over it, that's when you get that pop-up at the bottom. Alright? So if we look at all these, we'll see these pages must be set up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you do not set up these 6 pages, the system is not going to work. Alright? And we'll find each one of these 6 individual drop-downs in that page template area. So when I come to account overview, I have account page. So I know that those are in there. So make sure you match this up with this. Alright, let me go back. Okay, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Create your pages, enter in your IDs. Make sure, well, technically you don't have to have this, but if you want some kind of auto response that people have signed up, then you're probably going to want to fill in that email address. Next one, this one's a little bit more fun than entering in these boring ID numbers, is the system allows for extra categories. Specifically, maybe you want to layer your search criteria. For example, you want to do by states. So right now it's just based on category, which would be, you know, for example, photographers, you know, event caterers, or, you know, rentals. Simple as that. Maybe you want to add another category, which would be maybe states or cities or something like that. If you want to do that, we come to the vendors extra category and set this to yes. And actually, let me show you something real quick. If we go over the vendors, we're going to see 3 choices under vendors, right? Vendors, vendor categories, and then add vendors, right? And I'm showing you this because at first when you read these fields, it's not making a whole lot of sense. But when I show you what you're actually creating, it's going to make a lot more sense and probably help you actually create these extra categories and areas. So here's our extra category name, state. I've set this to yes. I'm going to save this. Okay. Let me refresh this. Now what we see under vendors, we have the 4th one, state. That is the new category that I added. State, right? So we have state. Then we're going to see things like please select your state. Select the, and I can't spell, state. Please select the city where you are running your business. We got all these little titles and fancy things and stuff. Okay. So let's go back to vendors. Let's go to the regular vendors. Let me go ahead and edit one of these. Now what has happened is the extra category has automatically populated in the vendors area. So now it has the select the state. Remember I typed the select the state field? Please select the city where you're running your business. This text automatically fills out and populates this area. And that's what those fields are for. Basically you're creating an option for vendors to fill out this extra information. Now this Florida, this one state in here, is there because I already did it in advance. But to add states, it's just like adding categories. You click the extra category or whatever you've called the state, cities, you know, whatever. Come in here and just like you did categories, you upload your picture, you add your name, you know, Georgia. Give it a picture. I'm just doing goofy pictures right now. Obviously, I don't think this is Georgia, but it's good enough now for the tutorial and the demo. All right. Oh, I hit it twice. Let me get rid of this one. Okay, so now I have 2 states, and if I come back to vendors, and I do the drop down, now I have the 2 states. So that's it in a nutshell, really easy. That's how you add an extra option. You don't have to add that. Maybe just having one category is enough. But if you need to add the extra layer, that is how you do that. So let me turn this thing back off. All right, well, let me show you one other thing because I get this question all the time with our other theme. It's a common mistake, or not really a mistake, people just miss it. But let me come to the widgets area, and people are forgetting to add this part. So, and I don't think I covered it in the video, so it's probably my mistake. So I'll make sure I do that this time. Anyways, the vendor front end, when they're logged in, we have this area, and right on the right, we have this box, what we're calling a widget. This area, these set of links. All right. Well, you need to activate this box, so to speak. You need to put it there. You need to make sure that it shows up. So to do that, when you set up your vendor section, your pages and your IDs and all that fun stuff, what you want to do is also set up your sidebar, your widget. This widget, excuse me, that's right here. Otherwise, they're going to log in and they're not going to be able to have access to update their account or make changes and that kind of a thing. So let's come to the after login sidebar widget. See this right here, after login? And what you're going to want to do is drag over the Elegance account section widget. Drag it over, give it its name. All right, now I have account sections, that's what I'm calling this one. Let's see. Change that to menu, I'm not liking that. Give it your name, and that's it, you're done. Otherwise, this area is going to be blank. And people aren't going to be able to navigate and update their account. All right, that will do it.